All right. This session will not take 2 hours. I'm gonna show you what self-service looks like on the advisor end, and then I'm gonna show you a little bit of what the student sees. On the student side, I'm just going to show you the most important part: what the student will be doing in what sections when they're registering. The other sections I'll just refer to and tell you to go look at the videos if you want to know more about those. Today's session will be recorded. It'll be placed on the advising site. If you log into Moodle and go to your resources and go to the advising center, you'll scroll down and you'll find the self-service information module, and you'll find anything you need to know about self-service. All the latest documents that Martin and them send me are down at the bottom, and you never get to the bottom. There they go. And you'll also see a bunch of videos. I made lots of videos breaking down every little bit of it this summer. I made a bunch of videos for us, and then I made a bunch of videos for the students. I made about 7 or 8 videos explaining the different functions that the student has access to, so that student services can use it. Maybe it'll be applied somehow to the online orientation. I don't know. Yes.
Where is that again? Like what part under Dot?
Thank you for that clarification. Yeah. When you log into your Moodle and you get up here, normally you go in here where your classes are. It's under resources, this little area that none of you go to. And if you look down here, you'll see, Academic Advising Center, Transfer Center, Kathy's site, Faculty Resources, and Moodle Orientation. But that's where it is. So, for all you folks who are clueless. Just a few tidbits about the self-service setup. You log into it just like WebAdvisor. As we get into it and look at the different things, some things you'll see look just like WebAdvisor, just a little bit different. But if you understand WebAdvisor, this is really nothing to, no big learning curve. Sometimes I've noticed that when you first go into it, it takes a little while to load. And then when you go into different areas, it takes a little while to load. Sometimes it doesn't do that, so just be prepared for it to sometimes be slow for some reason. Why, I don't know. Eventually, it will take the place of WebAdvisor completely. Right now, that's not the case. Right now, we'll still be doing attendance and grades and stuff like that in WebAdvisor. But eventually, WebAdvisor will go away, and we'll do grades and attendance through self-service. And I'm going to show you the areas where that would happen. The projected launch for self-service to the student body is November. So I assume it'll come ahead of pre-registration, so they'll have access to it to register for spring classes. So just keep that in mind. And that's where they'll be able to register. They'll have access to all their college information. They'll have access to a lot of stuff that they don't have access to with WebAdvisor. And we'll take a short look at that. And like I said, the good thing about it is you can access student information anywhere. I went ahead and put I'm going to show you the test version. I actually got the live production version. I already saved it on my phone. So if I need to look up something when I'm out and about, just bring it up on the phone. It's very convenient. So you'll find different uses for it as you mess with it a little bit more. But those are just a few tidbits. What I'm going to show you now is what it looks like for you and I to log in. Eventually, either I or the computer division will send you the test link. I thought about it yesterday, and I never received any emails that were sent out to everybody with the link to the test version. So I wasn't sure if Scott and them wanted y'all to have it yet. So I sent an email to Martin and asked him, could I give it out? But I hadn't heard anything back. So I'm not going to give that out just yet until I talk to them. But when you get to it, you got your sign in. You sign in just like WebAdvisor. And give it a few minutes. This is that waiting I was talking about. Initially, it takes a few minutes. Sometimes it'll pop right in, sometimes it won't. Sometimes it'll take a little bit. But there, hey! And sometimes it'll do something stupid like that. And then you have to start over. Just like with anything, release full of bugs. Let's try this again. I tested it earlier just to make sure you're currently signed in as me. Okay, then. I guess oh, okay, there we go. Okay, this is what we as advisors see. We see the employee section, the faculty section, and the advising section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each one of these. This little side view brings you to some other menus. You can, home, that's self-explanatory. Employment, that just breaks down this one to the different things we'll be able to see. Daily work, you can go in there and look at different things, like the advising one, the faculty one, and then you can look at the organizational structure that seems to change constantly. User options, you can go in and look at your user profile, emergency information. We'll talk about all that when we get to it. The employee one, you just type on it, and you can go in there and take a look at your tax information. I would like to have my W-2 electronic, blah, blah, blah. You can see some of your W-2s from years past. You just click on it, it'll pop up there. You can print it, do whatever the devil you want to with it. Pretty, straightforward. If you want to change something, as I assume you click on the preferences and you can change it. But we're not going to do that. So I'm just going to kind of leave it like it is. 1095C, if you want to have one of those. I don't do my own taxes, so I don't quite know what it is. But you can hit receive and, and save, and then it'll do that. In my case, I just left it. So go back to, sometimes it'll, so that's tax information. Employee, faculty contracts, I assume at some point HR start dumping contracts in here. Right now there's nothing in there. So, but eventually I assume something will be in there. It would only make sense. Earnings statements, you can go in there and look at your stubs just like in Web Advisor. If you want to go in there and print out your stubs or see how much you don't make and things like that. You can go back several years and do that. You can click on the stubs and see what you make. All that nice stuff. Pretty straightforward. That's pretty much all you would do with that employee tab. That's about it. That one, not so exciting. The faculty one, click on it, and this will pull up all your courses. And once again, you got to give it a few minutes. And you'll see all of my fall classes. And you can see my spring classes, and that's about as far as it goes in this test mode. If I wanted to look, say, let's look at a class for the spring. Back in the spring, it gives the information for EDU 216. It gave me the roster of everybody that was in there in that particular class. If I wanted to email everybody, I could hit that, do an email to everybody. That's nice. If I wanted to print this and use it as my little paper roster, I could do that. I guess you could download this as a CSV and save it somewhere if you wanted to. If you wanted to do that, that's another little option. As you can see, student name, their ID, their class level. No. I was going to check see if you could click directly on them, but no. Attendance. I assume when it gets fully set up to allow us to do this, like I said, right now we do this at Web Advisor, you'll be able to do your attendance for your class right here, put in your A's for absent, and put in your E for when they entered and all that. I think right now it's just going to grind. Even if it pulled up, it's not going to have anything in there because it wasn't, used for the spray. But this is what it would look like. Select attendance, present, absent, and you pick the day. So what day were they absent? Were they absent on the 27th? Or were they absent on the 20th? Whatever day the assignment was due. This was an online class. So that kind of gives you an idea. And see, you got the little email. You can click on that, send them an email. Let's see. I don't know. You can enter a little comment if you want to and save it. I guess that goes to the student. I don't know. You got to keep in mind. Although I'm training you on it, nobody trained me. So all I had to do was sit around and play with it. So if I get to sections where I say, well, I'm not sure what that does, it's because, well, nobody showed me. So I just learned by playing with it. But that's what the attendance section looks like. And like I said, eventually, this is where we'll do attendance for our classes, whether it be online, seated, PI, whatever. Grading. This is where you'll do the grading eventually. As you can see, the grades for the students. Mostly everybody did all right. Just like in WebAdvisor, doesn't that look similar? You get that last day, and if they never attended, you click that. And, you put in your letter grade. I assume when it's, see this class is closed out, but I assume when it's live, this will have a block where you can put in A, B, C, or F, or whatever. And that's where you do that. That's pretty straightforward. It's got a section here where you can put what the book is. You can go in here and add book. So you can go in there and type in ISBN, title, author, edition, all that stuff. But that's covered in the syllabus. I personally probably won't do that. Give them another reason to read the syllabus. Permissions. This talks about requisite waiver and faculty consent and student petition. I don't mess with none of that. I don't give any requisite waivers. I don't do none of that mess. Faculty consent, I don't really know what that is, so I don't mess with it. Student petition, I guess if they had a grievance or whatever, information would be in there on it. And it would tell about the status of their petition, whatever their gripe is, whether it's with you or one of their other instructors or whether it's with staff or something, I don't know. But, nothing in there, so nothing to show you. So. But that's what this section looks like. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, it's the faculty section. Gives you all your classes. And if we were to
Can you go into one of the fall classes and see if they're grading?
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Okay, this is one of my own lines. Doesn't give anything right now. So nothing. Doesn't even give me the option to do anything here. Remember, in the closed out class, I could mess with those.
Yeah. So
I assume when it goes live, then I'll be able to play. But right now, not so much. So. All right. But that is that section. Pretty straightforward. Okay. Let's go back to, I think I covered everything in there. Yeah. All right. Advising. This one we'll be using a lot. Here, you'll see all your students. Right now, it's got a bit of a glitch in my opinion because in my sign-in, it shows every student I've ever had any contact with in 17 years. So there's like a lot of people to scroll through. It shouldn't do this, but anyway, it does. So it is what it is. I can't do nothing about it. I just type in the student's name I'm looking for. That's the easiest thing to do instead of scrolling and trying to find them, unless they're up there on the very front. You can type in the name, last name, a little bit of the first. You can type in their ID number, whatever, just like in DataTel, lots of different ways to do it. We're going to play with our test boy here, John Doe, set up for testing purposes. And we'll take a look at Mr. John Doe, and we'll see what we can see for Mr. John Doe. John Doe is an actual student. We just changed his name and address and pertinence. So this does, these things do apply to some student. I can't remember who we made into John Doe within tests. But anyway, John Doe is an associate in arts student. All right. John Doe right now does not have a course plan for the fall. We'll talk more about the course plan when we get to what John Doe sees. Right now we're in what you see, the advisor. Now I can go in here and add things into his course plan. I can say, John, I think you ought to take these things. And I can put them in there. I think you ought to take these. And he can go in there and look at it. Okay. And, we all agree, and then we get registered and it's done. Or he could, on his end, he can put it together. Mr. Neal, I'd like to take these. And then I take a look at it and I review it and I'm like, yeah, that's logical. Or no, you shouldn't take that math. That's the wrong math. Remember we talked about ECU and that particular program doesn't want math 143. They want 152. So you need to switch that out. We don't need the math 143. Little things like that. But we'll get to that. But this is where the course plan can be built, whether it's built by me or whether it's built by Joe or whether we build it together.
Do you have to approve it
So the way it's supposed to work, yes. The way it's supposed to work, yes. As I have played around with John Doe, I have found that classes that I have put in and taken out and put in and taken out several times, when I put them back in another time, they'll show the last thing I did to it, whether it's approved or disapproved. It shouldn't do that. But I made Tammy aware it's a statewide issue. That's one of those bugs they're going to work out, hopefully. But as you can see, there's no plans going back, And this just shows some things he took in the spring, completed. He took art, English 112, history, withdrew from the math 152. That's going back, and I'm just going back. That's fall 2018. Within this course plan, you can click on this right here, calendar. See list, calendar, and in this section, well, right now you can't do nothing to it because it's old. But in the new version of it, fall 2019, you'll be able to, delete it or do other things to it. And you can look up meeting information. This is when it met. Pretty straightforward. View other sections. As you know, typically we don't have more than one section. Sometimes we do. You'll see this nice little grid over here. This shows the seated stuff he has and shows how it would look on a little schedule. That sort of thing. He could print that. I can print that because I'm in the advisor version of it. Eventually, what I'm going to do, like I said, is I'm going to show you what John does on his end. Then we're going to go back to the advisor side. And then we'll get into this approve, deny, and all of that stuff. So I'm going to come back to that. Timeline. This just shows his life with us in the spring. Those are all his classes. A couple of C's, an A, and a W. In the fall. In the spring of 18. In the fall 17, and then if you go all the way as far as it'll go, it'll show you the non-term courses. He's got some transfer stuff. He transferred in a couple of ACAs. He's been given credit for some DRE. He's got an English course, English Lit course there, some health and PE, and some and a sociology course of some sort. So. Oops. Oh, yeah. We'll bring it back to where we're at. And eventually, when I go in as John and add some stuff will show here. Here you can see John's progress. How far along is John got? As you see, there's all kinds of information. John's ID number, his email address, click on it. You send him an email. He's an associate in arts student, cumulative institution GPA 3.0. He's in the 17 catalog, anticipated completion date, all that nice stuff. If you wanted to see what he looks like in a different catalog year, you could put him in a 15 or a 16 or an 18. Those are the only choices it gives. Keep in mind, this is the test version. If it was the production version, it would give you the ability to put him in a 19 version. But in this test version, it's not in there, so it doesn't give me a choice. I'm not going to mess with that because I just want to see him in what he's in. He's in the 17 catalog. He has not missed a spring or fall semester, so he's still under the 17 rules. So, and this just gives a description of the Associate in Arts program. Program notes. Click on that. There are none, so nothing to look at. You look here at English. Says completed, 1 of 1. So he's completed all his English requirements. Show details. He completed English 111 and 112. Got him 2 C's. Good. They'll transfer. Not what I would have liked, but would have preferred A's and B's, but C will do. Humanities. He owes, of course, according to this, he's got 6 of the 9 credits done, so he owes 1 more course. He's taken Art 114, he's taken Art 111, so he needs to take something else in a different category. For example, if we offered it, he couldn't take Art 115 because it's got to be in 2 different categories, not all in 1 category. That's a program of study rule for pretty much any program. So he owes me something here. So if he wanted to take a class in the fall, Music 110, he could either look it up. I mean, I could either look it up and put it in there. You look right here, there's a screen where you can, I thought there it is. You can type in the course there. Or if I recommend him to take music, I can just click right directly on it. Music will pull up. And I can say, add to course plan. Now, it's going to ask me, well, what term do you want, Neil? I want the fall. All right. Add to course plan. Now, remember that course plan? Let's go back to it. Look, he's got something now. You see that check? It shouldn't be there. The reason it's there is because I've been playing with John Doe and tests so much. At some point, the last thing I did with this class was approved it. So when I put it back in, it put that back in there automatically as approved. It shouldn't do that. So you can't do nothing about that right now. So pretend that that's not there. But as you can see, it's there in the course plan. And if we go back to timeline, you see it's there now. But it's not quite like the other ones. Those are completed. You see how it's a different color. Go to progress. Progress. Go down here to humanities. See that? Planned. Hasn't been registered yet, just planned. If I was to go ahead and hit register, it would say registered but not started. But it's planned right now, so we'll just leave that there. And we'll move on to course catalog. You can pull up different courses, in the course catalog. Right now it's got that keyed in, but you can, let's see, get out of, now for some reason it wants to look at music. If you want to, oops, let's see what we got. Now for some reason it just wants to show that, but typically what it'll show is pretty much everything that we offer. Well, that we can offer. Doesn't mean we're actually offering it, but that's what's under that section. This is like a notes function. You could put a note in there. I assume that's sort of like the Aviso function. You can archive any of these course plans, but we don't have any in there archived for it. If you want to see John's test scores, click on test scores. You can see that he has a DRE composite of 121. You'd have to look at the crosswalk sheet to understand what that 121 means. It probably means 097 probably. He needs to take a DRE. But he probably already has already taken that because he's passed English 111 and 12. You'll see all the DMA scores. Once again, you'll have to know what the numbers mean. In order to pass a DMA, you got to have a 7. So when he took the math placement test back in 2017, he did not pass any of the DMAs he attended because he has no 7s. So he had to take a few DMAs to get to whatever math it was he wanted to take. In this case, he's been trying to take math 152. So he took at least up to 50 to get to that, and of course he had to get a DRE 098 out of the way as well. So
what does accepted mean?
It just means that the score is accepted. I assume that the score is in the system. Don't be fooled that accepted means he passed it, because that's not the case, because 2 out of 12 is not passing a DMA. It just means it's in the system. I don't know why it says accepted, but I'm taking it at that. So that's why I say look at the scores and don't assume that just because it says accepted that he has, what do you call it, credit for that. You can print an unofficial transcript of John Doe. Click on that. A PDF will come up. You can save it, print it, do whatever the devil you want to with it. John can do the same. So that's nice. You can look at John's grades. Just pick the semester. These are all the semesters that he has taken classes and received grades. Gives his term GPA. So in the spring, you can see his grades, 2 C's, an A, and a W. And once again, petition and waivers. Nothing in there. And then graduation application. I assume at some point there will be a version of the application for graduation put in here so the student can do it through self-service. But right now there's nothing in there. Well, I take it back, there's nothing in the test version. I'm not sure whether they have something yet in the production version, but this is where it would be. So, hey, John, you're going to graduate in May. You need to go ahead and fill out your application to graduation. Go look it up in student self-service and go get it done, blah, blah, blah. This is where he would do it. And we can take a look to see if he's done it through our end. Now, once once I look over his course plan and I've done everything I wanted to do to it, I can hit review complete. I've reviewed his course plan. One of the last times I reviewed John's plan was back in July when I was messing around with it and making videos. Right now I want to go back to John because I want to get rid of that class. I'm going to go right there. And it should go away. At least I hope so. Come on. And it's gone. Put back to progress. There we go. back to progress, you can go through there and see everything he still owes. Remember it said plan? Now it's gone. All his behavioral sciences are done, so 9 credits of that. Usually when it's done, it closes it up. So if you want to see the details to see which ones he's taken, he took 2 histories and a psych. You want to get that nice and hidden again? There you go. Math, he still owes the math, obviously, because he dropped the 152. Obviously, that's the math he wants, because wherever he's transferring, that's the math, or at least the first math they're requiring him to take. He's completed his natural science requirement. Based on the 152, he would owe 13 credits here. Now, this is where self-serve is a little quirky. As an advisor, I know that if he takes Math 171 or Math 152, he owes me 13 credits here. And if he takes 143, he owes me 14. This just says he owes me a flat 14. So that's where understanding my program of study comes in. So he owes, let's say, a few more. Like I said, he's got 9 hours in. He owes me, based on the math he's trying to take, he owes me 4 more credits. So he can take a 4-credit course, or he can take 2 6-credit courses, whatever his choice is. And then, you move on through. Other required hours. He's got his ACA. That's done. And he's only completed 3 credits out of the 14 credits he owes me on the back end. So he owes me a few there. And depending on whether he takes some of the 4-credit courses or some of the 3s or a combination, that determines how many courses he still owes me. And then if you go all the way to the bottom, just like on your eval sheet, just like on your eval screen in Colleague, Datatel, you got the junk pile, all the courses that didn't populate nowhere. Now, this can populate somewhere, so I don't know why that didn't populate. That is a transferable course. So that would be something I would have to investigate. This, I'm not sure if it's a transferable course. I'd have to look. That might be something that could go up there. So just, something to keep in mind. When I'm dealing with students, I'm going to look at this, but I'm going to still look at the Datatel system because, well, just to be sure. I like to be thorough because I forget things, so I try to make sure I don't forget things. But that's what the advisor functions look like, the 3 things we have access to currently. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log out, and I'm going to go in as John Doe. I'm going to show you what the student sees. Any questions about what we've seen so far in the advisor section? Okay. All right, I'm going to sign out. Now I'm going to log in as John. Now this is what John sees. John can see his student finances. He can see his tax information. He can see his grades. He can see his financial aid stuff. His student planning section, that's where he does all of his planning and registering and things like that. And then he can check his attendance because remember, eventually we're going to have the ability to do class attendance through self-service, so he can go in here and check. Okay, according to Mr. Callahan, I've already missed 2 sessions. Okay, I can't miss but 3, so he can go in there and keep track of it. He's got an electronic way to do that. All right, some of these I'm not going to talk about in any great length because they don't confront us. Student finance, that's up to him to figure all that stuff out. I don't do financial aid. Tax information, not going to talk a whole lot about, and financial aid. I have videos that are made for the student that me and Meredith made that deal with these 3, student finance, taxes, and financial aid. If you want to play those and look at those on your own time to understand more about what the student can see in there and whatnot, check those videos out. I'll just open them up and give you a little peek at what they are. You know, they can go in there and see how much they, you know, owe or whatever. You know, check balances and whatnot. Check out account activity. Like I said, I'm not going to explain a lot of this. You can go check the video out. You know, charges. You know, there's nothing really in there right now because John's not signed up for anything. Registration activity. Yeah, we hadn't registered John yet, so. But that's, you know, the finance tab.
Are they gonna be able to pay on? Yeah, it says pay on.
Are they going to be able to pay through self-serve? I don't know. I would assume
It says
maybe in the future, but that, you know, that would be a business office question. I really don't know. I would assume that that would be the, you know, the logical evolution of how this thing is used. They can do the, you know, they can take a peek at their tax information or whatever. You know, like I said, you want to know more about that section, you know, go look at the student video that Meredith and I made. Grades, they can go check their grades. That's pretty self-explanatory. You know, they can click on it, boom, you know, what did I make? You know, they can go in there and find out. Boom, there you go. You know, that one's pretty straightforward. Not much to see there. In financial aid, this is the real complicated one. I think Meredith and I made 2 videos on this section. They can go in there and see a lot of their financial aid information. They can see where they're at in the process. They can see what documents and whatnot that they owe her. It has links to do your FAFSA. It's got links to other little helpful things over here in the corner. Yeah, it talks about some other things here. They got different ways that they can contact Meredith. They can click on the phone number. I assume it's not going to call, but it shows the phone number. They can send her an email. They can do that. But there's lots of things they can do in here related to their financial aid. To know more about that, like I said, watch that particular video. That's not something I, as an advisor, am going to mess with. If they ask me anything about it, I'm going to tell them, go to wherever the video is and watch that. And if you don't understand after that, call Meredith Beeman, because I don't do financial aid. That's her job. Just like I don't expect her to advise my students. So that's those 4. Academic attendance. That one's pretty simple and straightforward as well. Since we were not using it in the spring, nothing recorded. So nothing really to talk about. So, but in the spring of 2020, maybe, well, no, we'll probably still be using WebAdvisor, at least for this academic year. But let's say fall of 20, I would assume WebAdvisor will be gone. Then, you know, Johnny could go in here and see, okay, I've already missed 1 day, or I missed 2 days, or whatever. But that's pretty straightforward and explanatory as well. This is what we really need to be focused on, the student planning. This is where John goes to plan out his semester. What am I going to take? Okay, he can go view his progress. This is where he makes the determination, okay, what do I have left? Okay, this shows me what I've taken. This shows me what I still owe to get my degree. So this is what I will base my course choices off of. This way, John has all the information he needs to make good choices as far as his course selection. Okay? And as you can see, you can click right on it and go to that. Tells us program, Associate in Arts, curriculum. Right now he doesn't have anything in there. He can search for courses straight from this window if he wants to. he might have to print out from the website. He could start here if he wanted to, if he has everything down on paper somewhere else. It just all depends on how John wants to do it. Let's say John started here in the logical place. John starts there. He pulls it up. Okay. He sees what his progress is. And it's got nice little, lines there. I don't know why this one says 48 of 15. I don't know. Maybe that's a glitch. I don't know. Let's see. All right. John's looking. John's looking. Okay. What do I owe? What do I need? What do I need? Okay. John sees that he owes a humanity. He owes a math. And he owes a few courses under this section. And quite a few more under the other section. Okay, what's John going to pick? Well, John could pick directly on by clicking directly on the class if it's listed up here. I'm going to use some that I've never done anything with John, so it doesn't show me those false approves and false denies. I'm going to pick, let's go all the way to the, come on. We're going to pick Psych 281. I click directly on it. I want to add it to the course plan. John wants to take, can John take it? Has he had Psych 150? Yeah, John knows he took that a couple of semesters ago. So John's good. So he picks the semester he wants to take it. It's being offered in the fall, so John adds that to his course plan. Okay, I want to take that. All right. Now, he could type in a course right here, or he could go back. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to type it in right there. So I might like accounting. So let's take a peek at accounting. And boom. You can click right here to see if any sections are available. And yeah, that's a fall section available. It's online. Excellent. That's what I need. And in this case, since I did it that way, I don't have to select the semester that I'm looking for. Add that one. Boom. All right. Now, there we go. I'm going to do one more because I want to do a part-time schedule because I'm busy. So I'm going to do anatomy because that's one of the choices I can do because I'm interested in lots of different things. Rats. Another one. Sorry. I got fat fingers. There we go. All right. And once again, check available sections. Oh, good. It's being offered in the fall. Excellent. Excellent. Let's take that one. Let's add it to my schedule. All right. All right. I'm done. I'm done. That's all I want to take. All right. Let's go back to student planning. Planning overview. We can go back to here. Okay, nothing's going to show there because they're all online. There's no seated. So let's go back to my progress and let's take a look at those. Okay. We'll see where those classes pop at. You see where the anatomy popped at? Planned. And if I went down, I could show you what other things hit planned. All right. Those are the ones I want to send to Mr. Callahan to look at. So let's go to, let's backtrack. Let's go to planning schedule. Go to planning schedule. Okay. All right. from this section, John can go over here to, he can go over here and, oh, I made a mistake. He can take that off and add something else, or he can add some more. But he wants to send it to me to look at. So he's going to hit advising. And he might type a little note. Please look at this, Mr. Neal. And he's going to hit request review. Now, normally, I would get a little ding on my phone that somebody sent me an email that they want a request. Okay? But since I've already done John like this one time, it doesn't send me an email now. That might be a glitch too. The other thing I noticed when it sent me an email is it didn't tell me that it was John that requested the review. So my question was, well, how the devil do I know who it is? I advise for 3 different programs. I'm not going to do an Easter egg hunt trying to figure out who it is. So that's something they might have to. No, sorry. I thought it sent me one, but I think that's something that'll be fixed at some point. But that's what it should do. All right. So the plan has been sent off for review. Now, if you go back, I know you saw that button over here in the corner, register now. What happens if John hits it? Let me get rid of that. Watch this. John's going to try just to, what? What does it say? Advisor has not approved this course. So it's set up to not allow him until I approve it, which is what we want, right? Because otherwise, if John goes in there, signs up for a bunch of courses that he may or may not need, and it goes ahead and just straight registers him, and he makes a mistake, then we got to go backtrack and get stuff dropped and add things in, and that's just more work and that's a pain. I'd rather get a look at it before it gets official and fix anything before it's sent off and then do it that way. So I'm glad they put those little, what do you call it, barriers in there. So that's what John has done. He can print this if he wants to. He can do that. But that kind of gives you an idea of what John's doing on his end. All right, so you saw he picked out his courses, right? And he put his little schedule together, and he went to advising, and he requested me to look at it, but he got a little cocky and tried to register, but he found out, not time. So let's go see what Neal gets to look at.
I just didn't look at their transcript. I didn't see that there.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay. Let's see. When John clicks on that, it shows all the different things he can get to. And then right there, unofficial transcript. One of the things I'm going to eventually do is I'm going to make a module for the ACA courses. And this will be, and it'll have an assignment of some sort. One of the things I was thinking, the assignment could be go into self-serve and find your transcript and send it to your instructor. You do that, you get a grade, just to see if they can figure out how to do it. If they don't know, then they can watch the video, because the video will be in there too. And John can click on that, and it'll give him a nice little PDF that he can, like I said, print and do whatever the devil he wants to with. And say, boom, there you go. You can save it, print it, open it, whatever. We don't want to look at it. But, yeah, that's where it gets at.
Are all the students going to be able to register themselves like the first semester, or do they have to do one semester?
Well, seeing that we only have, like for example, this fall when they get ready to register for the spring, it's not like we have fall of 2020 ready to go, so they're just going to be able to. But they can plan. They can plan out, okay, I want to take these classes for spring of 20, and they can make a plan for fall 20 or summer 20 and then fall 20. They can plan out, and you can look at those plans all the way out, and you can go ahead and approve those plans. As long as they pass everything, then, you know.
But if they're a first-time student, do they register themselves or they come to us first?
Everybody can register. Everybody can use this to register. I'm going to make it known to my advisees that if you want to come in and do it the old-fashioned way, just come on, you know. Because some of my students will do great with this, and some of them.
Yeah. I know some schools make them register with an advisor the first semester and then kind of set them free. So.
That has not been discussed, but it's not that it can't. If that's something that we as advisors would prefer, that first-time students do it with us first, then that's something we could bring up at the meeting tomorrow and see what Michelle thinks, and she can take it forward with that, and the higher-ups can you know, see what they think about it. That might be a very good suggestion, at least for the newbies anyway. But as far as would we like deny their access to it, I don't know how you would do that. But yeah, that's something we could bring up tomorrow. Good thought. I hadn't really thought about that. But yeah, but that's where they find that transcript, and see they can go in there and see the test summary. You know, once again they can check their own test scores. You know, they can go in there and look at the course catalog. See what courses that we have in the course catalog. Now, these are all the accounting courses that are in the Pamlico course catalog. Now, whether or not we offer all of them is another story. But we could, if we wanted to, because they're in there. I'm assuming these are coming directly from our course catalog, unless it's the entire course catalog from the state level. Not really sure. I could tell you real quick if it's the, let me see. Let's go. I can tell you real quick by just looking at EDU. Yeah, this right here is pulling from the state list, because there's like 50-some different EDU courses, and I don't offer 50-some. I only offer like 15, so yeah, it's pulling from the state. But yeah, they can look at that. And when we go back into the advisor side of things, one of the things I forgot to show you, we could take John and look at John in a different program of study, just like we can do a DataTail. So if I wanted to see what John looks like in a different year catalog, associate art, I can do that. If I want to see what he looks like in an early childhood program of study, I can do that. So we'll take a look at that when we go back into the advisor. So let's go back into the advisor. We'll go back into what we see. Let's take a look at what we're going to do with Johnny. Okay, we're doing good. I'll tell you what I'm going to take the whole time. No, you didn't. Oh, I know what it was. Too many passwords.
I think you're supposed to change it every 5 days, something like that.
I hadn't heard. I hope not. Because I don't feel like trying to come up with a password in 5 days. I mean, my goodness, it was hard enough to come up with the ones I use. Let's check out Advisor. Let's see what's going on with Johnny Doe. Okay, I want to take a look at Johnny Doe. Now, according to this, it says you have one or more advisees requesting a review. I've noticed that even when Johnny didn't have anything in there, it still showed this little request review. So I don't know what's going on with that. I can't speak to the inner workings of these computer programs. I just wish they would fix them and make them work before they release them. But things don't work that way. All right, let's look at what Johnny sent me. Oh, look, Johnny sent me accounting, the bio, anatomy, and the abnormal psych. Okay, Has it been approved or denied? No. Okay. If I want to approve, I can just click all. All approved. Then boom, hit register and it's done. But maybe I don't want to. Maybe I want to deny all of them. And then I send Johnny an email, hey, we got to talk. Or maybe I'll go into his program here, his plan, and I'll erase some things, and I'll add in what should be there. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll say, maybe I disapproved of it. Well, let's go back. Let me get rid of that. Let's say I approved this one. Because I can approve one, deny the other, and approve the other. So I can approve all, deny all, or mix it up. Maybe I say, look, Johnny, I sent him an email. I don't know about that anatomy. You really need to go ahead and take that math because it's not going to be offered for another year and a half. Let's go ahead and get it now while it's being offered. Not that that's going to happen, but let's just say. All right, how do I get rid of that off his schedule? I can go over here to calendar, go in here. I'm going to say, look, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to get rid of that, Johnny. Show you back over here. See, it's gone. And what I'm going to do on the advisor side is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add what I think you should go ahead and take now. It's MAT 152. And once again, he's got all the DMAs. He's got enough English to take it, so it's about all of that. I'm going to pick the fall, add the course, and go back here to course plan. Now, once again, I've messed around with John a lot. That shouldn't be there, but it is. So let's fix it. So now I fixed his schedule. Okay, this is better, John, because this is more proper. Yes, John, you could take that bio, but it'd be better for you to take the math right now. So this is a scenario where I didn't approve everything, and I went in and fixed it based on what me and him discussed, whether it be in our office, in class, via email, phone call, whatever. And then, if all is good, got the check marks, I can go over here and boom, they're registered. Now, let's go to progress. Let's see what happened. Now, if I had pulled up my test version of DataTel, I got a test version of DataTel too. I could go into the test version of DataTel and show you where it is in there. I have to use the test version of DataTel to delete stuff once I register John in test because it doesn't allow me to do it through this. So that's the only way I can get anything off of it to play with John some more. This is one of those instances where it sits here and I think it's stuck. It shouldn't take that long. Now, for some reason, okay, it's got a check mark there, and those are looking funky. I don't know what's going on there. Let's take a peek. See? Okay. Now, for some reason, it should be saying registered but not started. Once again, this is the test version. It's got some bugs in it. I don't know what the deal is there. I'll be honest. It's doing the same thing to my abnormal site. You saw what I did. It should have been all right. So I'm hoping all of this stuff is not going to be an issue come time. And you see, it did like it was supposed to on that register. See? Of course, it hadn't started yet. So there you go. And that's what it can do. Now, if I wanted to take a look at what John looks like in a different catalog, I was doing this. Let's see. All right. We got John. View a new program. Let's see what John looks like as an early childhood student. Let's see. We're going to put him in the, what do you call it? The Birthday Kindergarten Associate. And this is just like your PSPR function in DataTel. And we got to pick a catalog. Well, it picked it for me. Put him into 19. Well, there is no 19 in the test version, so I had to pick 18. And see, now it loaded some. Student is not enrolled with this program. What you're seeing is just what he would look like. That's all that's saying. And see, this is what he would look like. If he was in this particular program, the early childhood transfer track, he would owe me COM 231. So not started. Because in this particular program, the English component is made up of English 111 and COM 231, and then they put English 112 in another category. And for this particular degree, Math 143 is the preferred, according to the state, but they can take anything over 143. So let's say he took that 152 the previous semester and switched over to this. Could he use that 152? Yeah, I would just have to sub it out because it's higher than 143. Humanity's still good. Of course, he has none of the early childhoods because he was not a early childhood student before. And so he has none of those. And he'll have a lot of stuff in the junk pile. Yeah, a lot of stuff in the junk pile. Like last time his history was counted, but for the early childhood transfer track, they don't have a place for that. So it's just the junk pile. Same thing with his other history class. It just that degree is made by the state. 70 credits, set in stone. No wiggle room except you can sub something higher, like a math, in the math section. But other than that, no wiggle room with that one. So that's why all of these other things are dumped in the trash bin. And let's say he switched over this semester and he was trying to take these. Ooh, I'd had to get rid of 2 of them because it wouldn't count. But that's how you look at them in another catalog. By going over here to the side and going to, view in a new program. Any questions? But that's what it looks like on the advisor side. That's what it looks like when the student goes in and does their thing, and then we go back in and do our thing. It's got some things that they're going to have to work out, some issues as you saw. They'll work those out, I hope, but that's what it is. If you didn't quite understand something, this presentation has been recorded. I have other videos where I've gone over it in pieces, so you can look at those. You can look at the student videos. It's all in the advising site. So I will have that all loaded up there. No questions? All right, thank you for coming. Get out. Y'all were very, very nice. I was going to keep you the whole time because of Joe, but I decided